Hey, welcome to Too Many Gadgets. So today I'm talking about the Apple Watch Series 6. I've been using Apple Watch for 6 years and this is my third Apple Watch. So today's video will be pretty much split into two sections, if you will. The first one will be covering the Apple Watch ecosystem and how it operates. So for those of you who are already Apple Watch owners and familiar with the system, you might want to skip that part and jump to the next section, will be about what are the specific benefits of the Series 6. I've been wearing this watch now for 6 months, upgrading from a Series 3, so I can give you some input into what are the new things and if that makes sense for you to upgrade given the version that you may be on. So those are the two main sections of this video. Hope you enjoy. So the first important thing about if you are considering buying an Apple Watch is that you must be an iPhone user, because these two devices are very closely tied, and that's both a strength and a weakness. So the weakness obviously being that if you like this watch but you have preferences for Android phones with perhaps a great camera better than one of the iPhones, you're out of luck because it will not work. You need an iPhone to use the Apple Watch. The next option you need to choose is if you want the default Wi-Fi version or you want to pay $100 extra for the cellular version. So the cellular version has the benefit that the watch has its own independent eSIM, where it does not rely on you being in Bluetooth proximity with your phone or be in proximity of a known Wi-Fi network. So the cellular version works on its own and has direct access to cellular networks in your area. So you can take a stroll without your phone and still do a call or take messages and stuff like that. The Apple Watch has 3/4 navigation principles. The first primary navigation option is the digital crown sitting on the side of the watch that can rotate and take push. The second option being the screen, which is touch sensitive, both for direct input, scrolling around, and you can do sort of a force touch also on the display. On the side, there's a secondary button that is used for really two primary things. The first one being quick access to your most used applications. The second one being mobile pay, where you just press twice and then you jump into mobile pay. So the fourth navigation principle on this watch is Siri, because like your iPhone, you have direct access to Siri, and you can access it using two different methods. You can enable it to sort of just by lifting your wrist that it will listen to you if you use the magic word, or you can go with the default option, which is that you sort of hold the digital crown in for a couple of seconds, which will activate Siri, and the microphone will be enabled for your input. One of the main benefits of the Apple Watch compared to a lot of the smartwatches out there is that it is actually possible to take phone calls directly on the watch. And again, I've been using the Apple Watch for 6 years now, and I can confirm that I actually do take calls on it. It's not just a gimmick. However, it's mostly when I'm at home or if I'm at the office with not too many people around that I find myself, perhaps taking the call. And if it's a short call, I might just also finish it on the watch. And if I sense, that this is something that's gonna go on for many minutes, I will usually wander and find my phone and then sort of transfer the call to my phone. But it is possible to take the call, and it makes great sense for in some situations to do so. So messages and let's just say text input in different applications is very well supported by the Apple Watch, and again to a deeper level than you will find on many Android watches. So when you get, let's say, just take the basic example of a text message and you want to reply to that. On many Android watches you can only see the message, but you need to go and find your phone to reply to it. On the Apple Watch it's different. So first and foremost, you have some options of predefining standard reply messages to your texts. The second option is that the Apple Watch will actually try to interpret what has been sent to you and come up with its own idea for possible reasonable answers to whatever has been sent to you. So again, depending on the nature of the text that you receive, it will come up with some different options for you to choose on, and it actually they're quite good, and in many cases will do just fine. So you very quickly can reply to what's been sent to you. The third option is to dictate your reply. And this is 100% familiar with what you've been seeing on your phone for many years, that you can just press the small microphone icon, and then the microphone will be turned on, and it will listen to whatever you are talking about. And you can also you can speak smiley and stuff like that, and it will still do it. So not too complex of sentences and too long, but medium to short answers will do just fine with the dictation method. And last but not least, you also have the option to select a number of emojis and stuff like that to use as input to replies. The watch has a speaker built into it, which is fairly loud, but for me, I fairly use the speaker and pretty much rely on the vibration motor to make notifications, patterns for me to be alerted by someone calling me, or if I get a notification from one of my apps. You can configure the vibration strength, if you will. So I use my watch for an alarm watch, so I have it set to pretty much maximum. But if that's too annoying for you, you can turn it down. Now let's talk about apps. You can talk about 3 different categories of watch apps. So there are those apps that are in no way optimized for the Apple Watch. And for those apps, you will usually see that if the app gives a notification, that notification will be mirrored, if you choose to do so, on your watch. So that's the first category. The second category is when they have optimized part of their mobile or tablet app for the watch. So there you will usually find that the app now has a specific UI on the watch, so you can do specific functionalities directly from the watch that will interact with the app on your phone. The third category is apps specifically developed for the watch, which is a standalone app on the watch, which doesn't sort of require a mother app on the phone. So that last category is downloaded through the Watch app store on your phone. There aren't that many apps to choose from, and to be honest, again, I've been using my watch for 6 years, I've been using this ecosystem for 6 years with 3 different watches, and to date I haven't downloaded a specific app directly on the watch. So you will find a few games, a few mindfulness apps and stuff like that, but really I haven't myself been able to find something that really made sense for me to download that wasn't really also a phone app. So yeah, it's there, but don't think too much of it. One of the ways that you can make your Apple Watch your own is by choosing the watch faces that are displayed on them. And there are many to choose from, but it's a closed ecosystem. You cannot directly make your own watch face, but you can configure them pretty heavily, both in terms of the type of information, the colors that are used, and also where different informations are displayed. So they are heavily configurable, but again set on let's say a base template that you need to sort of be within those boundaries. Another way that you can make the watch your own is by selecting the type of band or strap that you want to match your style. And you can go with multiple, really, because one of the great things about the Apple Watch is that they've made their own system for easy changing the bands on the watch, which can be done in under a minute once you've sort of figure out how to do it. The bands that are sold on the Apple Store are pretty expensive, but there are millions to choose from places like AliExpress or similar, where you can buy them very cheaply. I think this one cost me like $3 or $4 ish or so. So it's easy to have perhaps a silicone band one if you want to use it for swimming or stuff like that, or to have a leather band strap for more formal use or stuff like that. So it's very easy and quite cheaply to have a wide range of bands and straps to choose from. Fitness and health is something that's pretty closely tied to the Apple Watch and how they want to sort of market this product. So like many other watches today, you will find a heart rate monitor on it, and that works together with the whole fitness app and the health app on your phone. So you can track the data there and see how you progress over time. And they have this, like many other of these types of systems, where you get awards for doing different challenges, or if you have exercised so many days per month and stuff like that, to try and keep you motivated. What you will also find is a reminder if you have been sitting down too much and you sort of need to walk a little bit around. Those type of notifications are available, and also to do breathing exercises a couple of days, just like a minute or so, to just get ease of mind and just find mindfulness is pretty much perhaps the operative word here. The watch is waterproof and has been since the Series 3 down to 50 meters. If running is your thing, you'll be happy to know that the watch has a built-in GPS, so you don't need to have your phone to get accurate tracking data of your route. A couple of years back, when Apple launched the Series 4 watch, they introduced a new kind of innovative feature on this watch, which is the ability to take an EKG, which is a way to monitor your heart rate and the way that your heart operates. So what it can do really is alert you if you have too high or too low of a heart rate, or if you have what they term arrhythmia, which is irregular heartbeat. So these type of sort of warnings can be given to you if it detects that. So this is of course something that you hope you will never be able to be alerted about, but it's good to see that Apple are bringing this type of function that would usually only be able to be taken at a hospital down to consumer electronics, so that more people easily can access that type of functionality and make sure that they don't have those type of problems. So in the same category about this health spectra, we will find functionalities about sleep monitoring. And the sleep monitoring system on the Apple Watch is something that's fairly new, and I would say that's fairly evident compared to what you find in some of the other smartwatches out there, because the Apple Watch can pretty much only track how long you sleep and not give any input on your sleep quality, which is something that you will find on other and even more cheaper watches than the Apple Watch. So this is something where Apple still needs to focus. What they have done more efficiently is to be able to detect if you fall by accident. And in that case, the watch will give an acoustic warning, and sort of if you don't confirm that you are okay, it will actually call your emergency contacts and let them know that you are perhaps in trouble. And this is very clever. And I've never seen a false positive on this, even though, if you play around with your kids and throw yourself on the couch, I've never seen false positives on this. So it's built fairly clever the way it uses the sensors to detect if you actually are falling not intentionally and not just playing around. The last area in this sort of category is the ability for the watch to monitor if you are in a surrounding with too much noise, which could be like a building area or something like that, where you are exposed to too many high noises at a prolonged period, which you will be alerted to. Now let's talk battery, which has always since the birth of the Apple Watch been like one of the areas where they deliberately set themselves apart, and perhaps not in the best way, but you need to understand the whole picture when we're talking about the battery time of this particular device. So the official statement from Apple is that you get 18 hours of usage on the Apple Watch Series 6. So my experience is that you can go well beyond that, and just below 2 days really, depending of course on how much and how you use it. So a simple factor on how high have you set the brightness on the watch will of course have a major impact on your battery life. But this is one area where this watch is nowhere near what you see on some of the other watches, because if you just take some of the bands that are out there, for instance the Xiaomi Mi Band 5, you get pretty much 2 weeks of battery time, but it's a much smaller display and it's much less functionality that's being exposed to you. So again, it makes sort of sense here, and Apple have chosen functionality over battery time. no doubt. So you need to be okay with that choice, because if you are a lot on the go, you will need at least to have a charger with you. And these chargers are a modified version of the key chargers that we are fairly familiar with. But again, it is a modified version, so you can only use their specific charger to charge your watch. And they cost somewhere around $30-40, I think would be the average price, which is a little bit expensive for what it is. And it's actually taken really a lot of years for non-official chargers to be out there. And for now, I've tested a couple of them and they are not actually that good. But I do recommend that you buy an extra charger, because if you're anywhere, anything like me, when I sleep with my watch, if you do that, you'll probably need a secondary charger. So I have a charger at home and I have one at work. So usually my rhythm would be that in the normal Monday to Friday, I will charge my watch at work when I get there and start doing sort of my basic email in the morning. And in the weekend, I will just have my home charger. So you pretty much need two if you use the watch as an alarm clock. The ease of using Apple Pay on the Apple Watch is one of the killer features for me. Just press twice on the side button, select the credit card that you want to use, and you're good to go. I use it in like 95% of all my transactions, and it's so easy. And really one of the things that made me appreciate the watch so many times, because of course, yes, you can use your phone to do so, and you can pick up your credit card from your pocket. But again, it's just so easy to have it directly on your wrist. Music is perhaps not the most obvious and often talked about features when talking about the Apple Watch, but actually with the Series 6, we are up to 32 gigabytes of storage space. So if you use Apple Music, you will have the option to sort of download music directly on the watch, so you can hear them if you have, let's say, a couple of AirPods that you can sort of pair directly on the watch. So you don't need your phone if you are just taking a run or taking a walk around the neighborhood. You can just take your watch and your AirPods and you're good to go with music. Now that we have the base ecosystem in place, let's talk about the specific changes on the Series 6. So firstly, there are two sizes here. You have the 44 millimeters and the 40 millimeters. And I think it's fair to say that the 44 is for male persons and the females for the females or children on the 40 millimeter version. One of the improvements they've made with the Series 6 is the brightness of the always on display. So the always on display is the part where the voice is sort of in passive active mode. So the maximum brightness on the Series 5 and the Series 6 is actually equal. But when talking about the brightness in the always on mode, the Series 6 is pretty much around 200% brighter than the Series 5 edition. A lot of IoT devices only support access to 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi networks, but with the Series 6 we now also have access to 5 GHz Wi-Fi networks. In the health area, one of the major improvements with the Series 6 is the ability to measure your blood oxygen level. And this is done by using red and green and infrared light on your wrist to measure the blood oxygen level in you. Another improvement on the Series 6 is that the altimeter is now always on and not just measuring when it's in fitness active tracking exercise mode. The last major thing I would talk about is the U1 ultra wideband chip that Apple has also added to the Series 6 Apple Watch. And this chip is not really in use for now. We've seen Apple add this chip to some of the other devices that they've been manufacturing lately. And I guess what they are planning to use this for is sort of collaborations with, let's say, car manufacturers, where you can use your watch as a way of opening your car. So this is something that is a dream and a hope, and let's see what it turns into. So the chip is there, but really for now I haven't seen that many real life use cases where we can see this now. But again, let's see if some of the car manufacturers and similar user scenarios come into place. The Apple Watch Series 6 cost $399 for the 40mm edition and $429 for the 44mm edition. If you want to add the cellular option to your watch, you will have to pay an extra $100 to do so. if you're considering upgrading to the Apple Watch Series 6, I think it's fair to say that the core functionality of this watch has not changed that much since the watch OS we saw with the Series 3 watch. What we have seen is improvements to the display with the additions primarily on the always on mode. And now that we are seeing further improvements to the always on mode and a couple of new sensors with the EKG monitoring and now the blood oxygen monitoring mode. But the core system is fairly set, and that system still is one of the major reasons to buy a watch like this. But I will say, you know, if you have a Series 5, you should probably not spend money on upgrading. If you have a 4 or older than that, I will say it's probably good value that you are getting buying this upgrade. So for me, there's really not that much competition about Apple Watch being the best smartwatch out there. It's not the prettiest. I would prefer some of the, I think there are much more attractive Android smartwatches out there if you look at just the aesthetics of the watch. But the functionality is hands down the best there is, and really that's where it sets itself apart. Because just one use scenario, if I look at a notification from my garage camera, on an Apple Watch I will get the picture of the person walking into my garage. On an Android watch I will only see a notification that someone has walked into the picture, into my garage, and I then need to pick up my phone to see the picture. So the deeper integration of the Apple Watch system is just one of the heaviest reasons to buy an Apple Watch compared to an Android watch or some watches that will use both Android and iOS. But the Android watches are still, you know, beautiful watches. You get usually better battery time, but the functionality, and I've tested I think 3 or 4 different Android watches during the last couple of years, is just not there for me. So once you've tried the level of possibilities integration, it's pretty hard to say no to that, even though the aesthetics of the Android watches are usually far greater than what we are seeing on the Apple Watch, which has not changed since the first version. That's it for me, guys. Hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, just leave a comment and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible, or else I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.